Hi, Nathan.
Hey Claire, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well.
So, thanks for joining us today. Nathan's going to be talking to us about his role and some of the culture changes he's championed in his region. So, can you tell us a little bit about what it is that you do?
Sure. So I work for a company called Vonage. We're a global telecommunications software provider. Recently, last year, we were purchased by Ericsson, so we're now a full division of Ericsson. Really, three main solution sets we have being software communications APIs. So if you want to add video or messaging or voice to an application, you can consume our APIs versus develop them on your own. Then we have a couple of really significant application products, being our unified communications as a service platform, VBC, and our contact center as a service platform, VCC. In my role at Vonage, I look after our applications group for the Asia Pacific region. So lead a pretty amazing team here and having a lot of fun.
And you've implemented a sort of bring your full self to work policy in your team, which is a 90% male team in a tech organization. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So not my fault, but when we first, I should say, when I first started here at Vonage, we're probably more like a 80% male, 20% female team. And unfortunately, because there's so many things, whether it be the pandemic, people getting better job offers, people moving back to the UK because they missed their families during COVID and couldn't travel. Unfortunately, we don't have the same percentage and diversity when it comes to male and female. However, if you think about sort of our team here, Claire, I've always tried to be of the mindset that it's not about the hours that you work, it's not about where you're seen, it's not about anything like that. At the end of the day, what really matters is the results and being able to work as a team to deliver and to get those results. So I always sort of say to everyone, it doesn't matter the hours. And let's be honest, everyone has personal commitments in their life, whether it's a doctor's appointment, going to see an accountant, having to be there on site for a tradie, you name it. Everyone has that kind of stuff. So I always say to anyone who comes and works for me, whether it be at Vonage or anywhere else, don't have to check in with me to do what you need to do to run your life. That's just life. If you need to take some time out to do something, just go and do it. All I'd ask is that we make sure as a team we get results. We make sure as a team we're transparent with each other. We make sure as a team that we work through our personal items and don't have to share detail, but just I can't be online during this time, or I have to do X, Y, and Z, and I need your help here. And if we have that transparency and we know, then we can just work through it. And I found that to be very, very helpful in terms of building trust with everyone, building loyalty, but more importantly, seeing everyone be able to run both, the challenges that they've got in their lives and then deliver for us at Vonage and with what we need to do for our customers.
And what has the uptake in that been? Like, have you found that members of your team have said stuff like, hey, I've got my kid's school concert, or hey, I've got to go to the dentist, or I've got a yoga class or a uni class or whatever?
Yeah, definitely. I think if anything, it's brought us all closer together because rather than people feeling concerned that they may have uh, something with their parents or a medical situation they have to attend to, there's no hesitation with bringing these things up. Of course, there's certain things that are confidential or people want to keep to themselves and they're just like, look, I need some time to do something, and that's perfectly fine. The transparency, and because of the way that we sort of work as a team here, I typically find people will share, hey, look, I need to do this. And then that gives me so much other context into what's happening in their personal life. And because of that, it allows us to have a different dynamic in the relationship. So, for example, someone may be struggling with a family member who's not well. And if I didn't know what was going on, I might be thinking, hang on, why is this person all of a sudden dropped off with their performance? Or why are they just not feeling for me like it's their normal self? And then you get that insight into things that are happening in their personal lives. And for me, I feel that, you know, having that understanding and giving time to people for them to be able to do what they need to do, it comes back to us in spades. Like we get really good understanding of what's going on for them. But also, too, I know that if I were to have to ask someone, look, we've got this tender or we've got this customer escalation, or we've got this challenging situation and I need your help either after hours or over the weekend, I know they're there for me. And they also know I'm not going to ask unless it's something that we really need help with, because we've got that transparency, we've got that trust. And, in that regard, because we have that framework, we have some flexibility in terms of being able to do what we need to do in our lives.
That's amazing. And it brings me on to ask, so there'll be people watching this going, oh, she just let them do whatever they want, or they're probably not very productive. What impact has that actually had on your staff retention and your team's productivity?
Yeah, look, I used to joke when I became a sales manager for the first time when I was interviewing salespeople. I used to joke and say, look, I love surfing, and if you can figure out a way to be hitting your number, having your pipeline and your forecasted update for me so that I can see what's going on. I'm not getting escalations from customers. I'm not getting escalations from the team because they can't reach you, but you're down the beach every day. If you can do that, then that's up to you and that's amazing, but I could never do it, right? Um, so, look, I think in terms of the impact and what it has done for productivity or what it's done for results, is I feel that if people can have a bit of balance and understand that, okay, if I need to do something in my personal life or if I need to do something for someone else for a specific reason, then I can manage my own time so that I can still do the things I need to do for work, do the things I need to do in my personal life. And as long as I can make sure I'm still delivering, still getting the results, it's a win-win. And I feel from my perspective, it's done quite a few things. And one, it's brought a lot of loyalty. And we all know that at this point of time, at any point in time, the war for talent's always hard. So if you can have really amazing people who are really loyal and stay with you, it's a significant business benefit for the company. And then, next I think about the fact that people are then willing to go above and beyond. And I never forget, in my personal life, this is quite some time ago. I was in a really hard situation because my father was battling cancer, and he didn't have much time to sort of still be here with us. And I was so lucky because I worked for a company that understood my needs. I worked for a leader who was very supportive, and I got to spend a lot of personal time with my father at the end of his life. And when I look back on that and I look back at the impact that it had for me, the results it had in terms of revenue, specifically for the company I was working for, because I was in sales, um, it gave me really special time with my father, but it didn't impact my sales performance at all. And that year I was actually the top global sales professional for the company, and it yeah, it really gave me a different view of the organization, and the organization as a result gained significant loyalty from me.
That's amazing. And in that cultural change that you've made in the Asia Pac region, how are you, speaking of leadership, like how are you leading that charge as, the person in charge of the region, the VP of Asia Pac?
Yeah, sure. I think some of the things that I've always admired about leaders that I've respected, that um, I've really looked up to, have been a few things. Right. I think first of all, leading by example. I wouldn't ask anyone into the team to do something that I wouldn't personally go and do. And when it comes to sort of living by the flexibility, the results based sort of management style that we look at around time, for me, it's about providing back to the team the same transparency in terms of what I'm up to. So you'll know, Claire, I'll often say to you, hey, look, I can't meet at this time this afternoon because this week I'm going to go to Charlotte's soccer game. I'm going to take her there and I'm going to enjoy watching her play soccer, right? There's other times where I say, look, I've got a doctor's appointment, I can't do this. And then there's a very, very rare occasion when I say the surf's pumping, I'm clearing my calendar for the afternoon and I'll see you guys tomorrow, right? I think being open, being transparent, and letting the team know that this is not just something I say, it's something that I do. I think that's something that's been really key in terms of everyone knowing that there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, I need to be out this afternoon because I've got to do something with my kids, or I'm going to see them at the school, or I'm going to, drop home or do something because I've got a tradie coming. I think showing people that I'm doing it and leading by example is really key to that culture being endorsed by the team.
100%. And this is going to be a little bit of a tough question to follow on, right? So from a hiring perspective, obviously you're kind of the main person who hires in this region. And this is a mentality that we hear a lot. I've heard it a lot. I'm sure you've heard it a lot. So when it comes to hiring, particularly females of we're going to say certain age, childbearing age, there tends to be comments made around, oh, she'll just get pregnant and leave anyway. Why bother? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's such a crazy topic, right? And I say it's a crazy topic because it's wrong, absolutely wrong. And when it comes to not only hiring, but thinking about internal equity, thinking about promotions, thinking about career trajectories for staff, it just should never come into the conversation. I know it does. And I know that a lot of people close to me have given me guidance in the past to say, I don't think you should be heading down that path because potentially this person may get pregnant, may have a family. For me, I'm very fortunate in the fact that we were lucky to have a family. And it came with its challenges for a number of different reasons. But thinking about trying to gear either a selection process or someone's career around the fact that they may have a family is wrong. So, I can give you a couple of examples where, not this company, but somewhere else, I actually interviewed a number of candidates, had this amazing candidate that was in the category you're talking about, had some advice that we shouldn't proceed with hiring because there's a probability this person may get pregnant. So that's wrong. Let's hire. She's amazing, cultural fit, fantastic, really great energy, really great initiative, going to smash it. She came on board, year and a half, one of our top performers, great results. Sat down, said, Nathan, I'm pregnant. I'm so sorry. And I couldn't believe she was saying sorry. Like, I was so happy for her. Like, to be able to have a family, a lot of people can't do that. And I had a few people say, "Oh, look, told you so," and just wrong. Anyway, she went off, had a kid. We kept her role for her. Came back to work. Did amazing things when she came back. And I can tell you that what we got in terms of results from this person, the impact she had on the business, being out, having a family, and then coming back. And I should actually tell you as well that when she came back, I was able to create a part-time situation for her so that she could still have time at home with her newborn and manage the sort of daycare situation, etc., with her partner. She came back and she was working with us part-time, delivering way above a lot of the other people who were there full-time. So for me, whilst it's a really challenging subject and it's crazy, I wish that people would just put it out of the discussion. And, let's flip it the other way around. We know in our team, we had a team member, male, who fortunate enough to have a little baby, and then he went on paternity leave. So I think the conversation these days shouldn't be about that at all. It should just be about, doesn't matter if you're male, female, what background you have, what religious beliefs you have, what nationality you are. It should just be about looking at people for what they can bring and the value that they're going to deliver for the organization, and really what they're going to be able to do to help that team reach new heights.
100%. And it's so nice to see that kind of progressive viewpoint in senior leadership as well. So just to make it a little bit more fun off the serious topics, what's something people might not know about you?
Well, for starters, you probably see my nails are painted. It's nothing to do with anything other than my daughter Charlotte wanted to set up a nail salon last night, and I was the customer of choice. So reason it's still on as well is because I don't have any nail polish remover that I could find this morning. Then I was talking to some colleagues in the States, and no disrespect to anyone over there, but they didn't have too much of a understanding about Australia, and we're talking about surfing, and yeah, they found out I got chased out of the water by a shark last year. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that helps. I don't know if that answers your question.
It does, and that is wild. Also, everyone who's watching this, please be safe in the water. There are sharks here in Australia. And just the last one, just to finish, what advice would you give to someone who's kind of starting out in their career but is really ambitious to achieve?
Yeah, look, it's a really challenging thing, right? Because I think everyone's got their own strengths and weaknesses. Everyone's got their own areas for personal development. But for me, I think the five things that really have helped from my own personal perspective is the harder I've worked, the luckier I've got. People always say, "Oh, how did you be in this spot at the right time?" or "How did you make this happen?" And it was just through hard work. I think about when I was growing up. My brother, my younger brother, he's very very smart, and he used to be able to wag school. He would be working in the local coffee shop because he wanted to buy a car. He would basically have a look at some stuff the night before a test, and he'd get top scores. Whereas for me, the only way I could even pass a lot of these tests was just study, 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 hard work. So I think not everyone's like this, but for me, that I really had to put a lot of effort in, a lot of hard work. So harder I work, luckier I got. Next is, I think it's been for me something that's really helped, and this has been where I've looked up to leaders, where I've looked up to people in different sort of parts of organizations, and I've really respected or admired them. I've tried to build relationships with them. I tried to study how they've been successful. I've tried to understand what their magic is, and then figured out not how I copy that, but how can I take certain parts of that into my repertoire. And doing that, I think, has really helped over the years. And that sort of leads me on to the next point, which is about mentors. I don't think you can just have one mentor. I think you've got to look at different role models and different mentors through different parts of your career and different areas where you want to look at development. And I think having mentors throughout your career is something that I would really, really encourage. Um, that then sort of brings on to another point, which is around relationships and networking. That old saying of "it's not what you know, it's who you know." I think that will always play to some degree, and having connections that can help is always invaluable. So building out your personal network is something I would very, very highly encourage. Then the final thing for me, and I think this is pivotal around thinking about the future, thinking about trajectory of career development, is around communication. Whether you're in a sales role, in a leadership role, you name it, I think if you can figure out how to effectively communicate with people, how to build trust, how to build rapport, how to inspire people, how to really develop those trusted, tight relationships. For me, if you can really work on communication, that's an invaluable asset that's going to help with any career path someone may take.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining us. That has definitely been insightful.
Thank you, Claire. Been a pleasure talking to you.